Alright, number 9, we have Hector borrows $37.50 at a rate of 11%, compounded quarterly. How much? Find out how much Hector owes at the end of 5 years, round to the nearest cent. So this is compound interest. They give us everything that we need. All we need to do is plug it into the compound interest formula. So that is, for number 9, A equals P, parentheses 1 plus R divided by N raised to the N T power. Plugging everything in, that will give us 37.50, 1 plus rate of 11%, which is 0.11 as a decimal, compounded quarterly, so 4 times a year, raised to 4 times 5, because 4 times 5 is a quarterly in 5 years, so that would give us 20. So we're just going to plug all of this into our calculator, and that should give us what we need. I'm going to clear second quit and clear out, and I'm going to do 37.50 parentheses 1 plus 0.11 divided by 4, close, and then raise it to the 20th power. We get 64.51, 60, which will round up to 61. So answer choice C. 10, we're going to find all zeros of the function, and then we're going to write the polynomial as a product of linear factors. Since this is a cube, we have 4 terms. The best way to try this first, I would say, is factor by grouping. So that means the x cubed and then the positive 12x squared I would group together. And then the positive 46x and the positive 52 I would group together. And I want to see if this will factor. So these two I can pull out an x squared. And that will leave me with x plus 12. Now, I need to be able to factor something out of here so that I'm left with 12. And I don't know if this will work. I would need to be able to factor out 46, so this will not factor by grouping. So our best bet will be to do synthetic division. We need to find possible zeros. To simplify this process, because it could be quite tedious, you'd have to do those rational zeros. So 52 divided by 1 and list all the factors of 52, and then you got to try all those. I would suggest you take your graphing calculator and clear out what you have and just graph this function. So x raised to the third plus 12x squared plus 46x, and then plus 52. I'm going to graph it. Now my window is different because I moved it, so I'm going to go zoom 6 for standard, zoom 6. So the regular 10 by 10. Now what it looks like is that this graph is crossing at -2, and then the other ones will be imaginary. So I'm going to do synthetic division with -2. So if I look at my original problem, we have a third power, second power, first power, 0. I have all my terms. The calculator showed me -2. So I'm going to use -2, and then my coefficients will be 1, 12, 46, and 52. You bring the first term straight down, multiply -2 combine by adding or subtracting, that would give us 10. Multiply will give us negative 20. Combine, that would give us 26. Multiply by negative 2, that would give us a negative 52. And combine, that gives us 0. So 2 is a factor. That means x equals 2. X equals negative 2, that is. And if I set this equal to 0, the linear factor would be x plus 2 equals 0. So this will be the linear factor. If we look at the answer choices, we can rule out B and C because they don't have the x plus 2 part. So that leaves us with either A, x plus 5 plus I, and then x minus 5 minus I. If you look at these two, the only difference would be the negative 5. That one's both plus 5 and that one's minus 5. Just based on, no, I don't want to tell you anything about this, but based on this previous experience and knowledge of roots, I would want you to lean toward A, but let's actually solve it. So once we do synthetic division, the remaining polynomial, we need to use quadratic formula with that. So we started out with the cubic, we divided out a power of x, so we dropped x cubed to x squared, and this means 1x squared plus 10x plus 26. I know positive because they're all positive. If they were negative, I would put minus. Okay, so x squared, 10x, 26. We're going to do quadratic formula with that. X squared, 10x, 26. So we have x squared plus 10x plus 26. Alright, so we're going to do negative b, which is negative 10 plus or minus the square root of 10 squared, which is 100, minus 4 times a, which is 1 times c. So that would give us 104 minus 104 all over 2a. So 2 times 1, which would just be 2. Alright, simplifying, that will give us negative 10 plus or minus the square root of negative 4, all divided by 2. And then we can do the square root of negative 4. The square root of 4 is 2, but it's negative, it would be 2i. So we get negative 10 plus or minus 2i divided by 2. All of these can be divided by 2, so that will give us, divided by 2, that will give us a negative 5. Divided by 2, that would give us I, plus or minus I. So what we have is x equals negative 5 plus I, and x equals negative 5 minus I. So if I were to set these equal to 0 and move them over with x, I would have to add 5, subtract I. So that would give me x plus 5 minus I equals 0. So this is the linear factor here. And so I guessed wrong. It would not be A. X, and then you add 5 plus 5, and then add I plus 5. So that would be equal 0. So plus 5 minus I plus 5 plus I. So we would actually want D once we